Kristina's Essential Dies includes all of my most used dies and design elements, things that I use all the time in my crafting. So I'm going to point out some of these dies and then I'll show you an example of them cut. We've got this larger one, which is 5x7. The one just inside of that is your 4 1/4 by 5.5 or A2 card. Then you have a little wonky scalloped edge just inside that fits the A2 card. This circle right here, let's measure that so I can give you an exact measurement. It's 3 1/4 in size. I've also got a couple of my most used sentiment phrases. I've got hello and thanks. And then I've also got 2 sentiment strip dies. This one right up here is perfect for those really small one-line sentiments. And then this one can be used for ones that are just a little bit larger. Down the side right here, I have a nice curved edge. It spans the entire length of a 5x7 card, past 7 inches. So you can use it to add like a curved line in a lot of different ways. And then I've included a bunch of hearts because I find myself adding little hearts to my cards all the time. I've got this big one right here, one that's a little bit smaller. And then I've got some different kind of designs of hearts, ones that are a little bit more chunky, ones that are more narrow. Just really depends on what heart you're looking for. And I've got that in various sizes. Up here, you're going to get 4, or I think in some cases 5 of the same heart cut out all at the same time. So I put together this example of all of these elements cut so you can see their size comparison and how they work. So I used that curved edge for this piece back here. This is 5x7. Here's your A2 card with that kind of scalloped kind of matting inside. I've doubled up and stacked the hello die as well as the thanks die. And then I've got my sentiment strips right there. I did want to point out that I used the sentiment strip die, the smaller one, for cutting out these sentiments on these cards specifically. You can see how easy it is to grab those. And on this card, this circle right here is from the die set, as well as I used that circle on this card as well. When it came to creating all of these backgrounds with my stencil, I made them on 6x6 pieces of paper, and then I used the A2 size die, the 4 1/4 by 5.5. I used that to kind of position it over the pattern and cut out exactly what I wanted. So these really are some of the dies that I use most often. The other thing I wanted to point out on these larger dies here is that there's extra steel on them to prevent them from warping going through your die cutting machine. If you've ever used any of these like larger frame dies, over time you might have noticed that sometimes they can sort of skew and get a little bit warped in your die cutting machine. So having this extra steel on the die itself will make it much more sturdy and they'll last a lot longer.